All right, good evening, ladies, gentlemen, all people, and welcome to the kickoff of NGS Season 12, at least as far as this channel goes. First cast coming in tonight. My name is IceX, and already everybody can be like, wait, where's the camera? What's going on? You spent all summer getting this camera set up. Yes, I did. I spent the whole entire summer revamping my entire stream, getting my camera set up, getting the stream all nice and pretty for season 12 of NGS. And then my 4-year-old came along, thought it was a toy, and broke it. So now I am waiting for my new camera to arrive via Amazon via the mail system, which is taking forever to bring it to my front door. So until that comes, it is back to looking at my pretty little avatar instead of myself. But enough about that. I am ready and super excited for this match. We got two new-ish teams coming. Council of Mages, who I believe played in Season 10. I think they started Season 11, but then they got busy with time commitments, so they had to bow out in Season 11, but now they're back for Season 12, and they are ready to go. This team, I've actually had the chance to play against before. They are a lot of fun, and they have a lot of fun strategies that they can bring out. But on the other side, we've got Almost Legends Ruby, a new team coming out, or at least the captain said that it's his first time coming into and the captain role. So ALR coming in. I'm very familiar with the Almost Legends community. They've got a couple of teams spread throughout the NGS. So looking at using that, veteran status, having that community always brings out a pretty good team that can show us a pretty good showing. So looking for these two teams who have had at least some sort of competitive experience on either side, bringing it out. So excited for this first matchup. We are in Division D West. D Northeast tonight. There's so many different division changes now. The D, which was an East and West, is now like East, Northeast, and Southeast and West. It's just all over the place. But let me get you guys over to the map so you can see what's going on. So Council of Mages, they won the coin toss. They elected to go with first hero pick, meaning Almost Legends Ruby started off with our bans. They banned away the Tomb of the Spider Queen and also Towers of Doom. Meanwhile, Council of Mages, they banned out Alterac Pass and Cursed Hollow, meaning Almost Legends Ruby starts their season off on one of the most classic maps of competitive heroes that there is. Infernal Shrines. Gonna be a fun one. Love this map. Also of note, we no longer have Garden Terror. Was kicked out in the season 11 end of season survey. Got replaced by Sky Temple. It's back. Sky Temple. Gonna be interesting to see if any teams decide to actually go here. Sky Temple typically not picked up that much in competitive, but I've got my fingers crossed that maybe we'll see it sometime this week. Before I go, 1 neuro, 2, 3, I need to get that redemption for Take a Drink, man. I know you can't see it, but hopefully you can hear it. Got that drink down the hatch. Let's get ready to get this thing kicked off. I'm going to let the two teams know that I am ready in the lobby. Make sure that we get this underway. I've got readies coming in from 1. I've got readies coming in from 2. We should get this underway momentarily. And thank you all so much for all the follows coming in so far. I'm expecting it's a little early in the night. People will begin to trickle in. This is the first of 2 casts that I will be bringing tonight. Tonight is going to be full of the casting. I've got Division D Northeast right now. Later on at about 8 o'clock Western time, I've got another, no, I think it's 7:30, but I've got another matchup in Division C. That'll be Can't Connect Stuns versus Cool Cats and Kittens. That's a rematch of the match that I got to cast at the beginning of last season, so it's going to be fun watching those two teams go at it again. But in we go. Infernal Shrines. See how these two teams decide to approach it. Big bands coming out right now. The Zagara, the Brightwing. I mean, both champions are just very strong. So I anticipate both of those will make a quick exit in this ban rotation. There's always the possibility Vala gets banned too. She has started to fall down that tier list ever so slightly if she doesn't have the double healing or double support protection around her. It's no longer this hyper carry Vala, but getting into the tank pools where we'll go first, and May, a solid ban, can do a lot of damage on a map like Infernal Shrines with all of these minions. Being in this confined space, a very well-timed Blizzard or Ice Wall can just absolutely disrupt any type of flank that an enemy team is trying to bring in. There goes the Zagara. Don't want to see her coming out. just way too strong right now. A bit overtuned. Is going to see a nerf bat, I anticipate, in this upcoming patch whenever it decides to hit. And let's see where we go with the second ban. So looking at other champions, Diva, very strong. Stukov, very strong. Going to be really pinching the tank pool. Going to get rid of Johanna, another champion with very good AoE clearing potential around the camp. So Mei and Johanna both seeing the exit here. Not many AoE tanks left around this. We still have the Blaze with the fire that we could potentially see being put down. Diablo can definitely provide a lot of chaos with the rotations between bottom and mid lane, but it'll be Brightwing as expected, so now the Vala is less open. Are we going to see Council of Mages decide to commit to the Vala early and utilize that stacking W build to get some extra wave clear on those objectives? And they do. So we see Betnun go ahead and lock in that Vala. On the flip side, so, talking about potential counters to Vala, looking at things that do really well against it, Anub'arak, having that dive potential directly onto the Vala is very important, but we already see a lock-in coming from Deckard and Muradin here. Muradin can jump to the back line, got to make sure he's on point with those Storm Bolts to be able to lock down the Vala. Not necessarily the strongest engage into a Vala, but has a lot more peel potential for his team as well, and also high survivability, so not necessarily going to be looking to blow up the Vala like a Varian or Diablo would, who can get on and just lock that Vala down. But Muradin will be able to cause some chaos. But the early pickup of the Tyrande and then the ETC as well. ETC already having 2 interrupts coming from the Stay a While or the Lornado from Deckard and the Stormbolt. So going to be already a little difficult to land the Mosh, but the Mosh threat is just as strong as the Mosh itself. So we'll see how the ETC factors in here getting into that level 10 range. Also, the Power Slide is a very, very strong engage and disengage tool. Sonya actually getting banned out. Offlane focus now. Good, solid pickup. Sonya, this is one of her better maps. Can do a lot of clearing in the off lanes while the objective is available. Also can be very, very deadly on the objective, picking it up and spinning her way to safety, being able to pick up a lot of minions quickly. So not a bad ban there on the Sonya. We'll see if the tank is, since Muradin's already picked up, if they elect to go away, they elect to get rid of the Cassia, who's still in a fairly strong spot, has received multiple nerfs patch after patch, has finally gotten tuned down to a level where she's not necessarily favored in the lower competitive leagues as much, but we still see her picked quite a bit in the Storm, Nexus, and Heroic leagues. Cassia in the hands of somebody who knows all the small intricacies and has very good positioning, can still be a very deadly weapon. Zul'jin and Gazlo being picked up by the sides of Almost Legends Ruby here. Gazlo going to be able... I'm curious to see where we go with this Gazlo. If it's going to be the Grab Bomb Wombo, which is going to be a little harder to set up. It can be done with the Deckard Stay a While. So Deckard will have to initiate that and then set Gazlo up for an easy picking. But they do have the damage to put down onto this target. They still have the option to go with a mage or a second auto attack that does a lot of burst damage to top on with the Zul'jin, so we'll see where they go with that last one. But Kael'thas and Leoric, the Entomb with the Phoenix right down on top of anything that Vala wants to kill. And that's actually not a bad pickup here. Leoric is going to have a pretty good matchup against Gazlo, and Kael'thas is going to be able to do a lot of wave clear, which their team had a bit of already with the Vala, but now is going to have even more. And what is lacking on the side so far of ALO is the wave clear. Muradin, Zul'jin, Gazlo, not the strongest wave clear champion, so we need something, and there it is. Gul'dan going to be picked up by Q-Ball, has that wave clear potential to match the pushing pressure. So both these teams pretty even so far. If they can land the combo on ALO, I really like the Gazlo Deckard setup that they've got going on. Gul'dan and Zul'jin should have a heyday if they can get a good target. It's going to be very difficult with all the interrupts that ALO has to get a good mosh, but never count out Father of Three. He can always come in and surprise you, land that epic mosh. It's going to be a lot easier at level 20 when Leoric gets that Silent Entomb, but it's going to be a lot of fun here in this first match. I'm going to set up a prediction here. I'm going to give you guys 1 minute real quick. Who will win game number 1? And outcome 1, we're going to say Council of Mages as number 1. Number 2 coming in, Almost Legends Ruby. You guys get 1 minute to go ahead, start your predictions now as I get these teams introduced. On the blue side, we have Council of Mages. We've got Waffle coming in on the Leoric. We've got Diesel on the Kael'thas. We've got Kurtalicious sitting on that Tyrande. We got Betnan on the Vala, and we've got Father 3 on the ETC. Meanwhile, on the red side, we got Almost Legends Ruby coming in. We got Palm Ball sitting on the Zul'jin King on that Murden. We got Rat Bass Toad on that Deckard Cain. We got Cue Ball 162 on the Gul'dan, and we have Conflicted sitting there on the Gazlo. In we come to the mid lane and get this thing underway. Looking at these talents starting off, Gul'dan going for the stacks as well as the Deckard Cain. Vala obviously going for the W Hatred. Kael'thas getting some stacks, as is Tyrande. So we got a bit of a stack battle going on. These teams both looking to scale a little bit into the later game instead of have the early game advantage. And we already see Gazlo rotating up into the top lane here. Gonna go for the early soak. Gonna need to be answered by Council of Mages. Leoric on his way. The rest of the team's gonna duke it out here over the middle lane. Both these teams, you know, it does benefit Council of Mages not to fight here too much. Don't want to get Zul'jin stacked up too heavily. Zul'jin loves these early level skirmishes. Gul'dan actually getting 4 stacks off on the Corruption already. And gonna get 4 more there. So Gul'dan doing a fairly good job getting himself stacked up, looking for that magic number 40. Meanwhile, the rest of the team on the side of Council of Mages just backing off. Gonna try and continue this. Good stun coming in from Tyrande, but unfortunately it is on the Murden, meaning Murden will just be able to heal himself back up. Globes definitely need to be focused by this ETC. Wants to get his Kael'thas stacked up there. Kael'thas already sitting on 4 globes. Gonna want more. We got some good damage coming in from both times. A lot of scrapping, not a lot of killing yet. Betnan sitting pretty low on the health and the mana pool. Gonna have to use some globes or go for a well tap here pretty soon, meaning camp advantage is gonna go to his Almost Legends Ruby, and they are already starting off this camp here. Like the early aggression, recognizing that the resources are a little bit low, can start and pretty much safely get their own camp. Also sets them up for a nice pick into the bottom lane. Nobody on Council of Mages picking up their camp quite yet. Waiting just a second, maybe gonna clear out the mid lane or the bot lane, then they go pick up their camp. But instead, they may try to focus for a skirmish here. ETC is staying down here, looking like maybe they want to pick a fight instead of going to clear it. Leoric's gonna be the one on the double soak duty, gonna be able to get this mid lane pushing. Now we see the rest of Council of Mages rotating themselves away, meaning bottom camp is left available, but we do see instead an aggressive camp invade, it looks like, coming out of the side, or maybe just a bush gank. Everybody's being very, very quiet right now. Gul'dan trying to get some stacks going. And nobody picking up any more camps quite yet. Each team kind of waiting. Gazlo does rotate down, gets the stun out just a bit far. Gonna rotate himself back up into the top lane. But Gul'dan continuing to get the stacks going, 13, and looking for more. Now we've got a camp pickup coming in from Council of Mages here. Gonna go ahead and pick up this left side, get their own siege camp. Bottom still hasn't been picked up, and neither team focusing the bruiser camp in the top lane quite yet, trying to get it on the timer. But we do see the ETC getting the power side. Big root coming in from the Deckard and the Ruby to boot. So they're going to have a lot of sustain. This is going to be a great fight coming in from Almost Legends Ruby. Leoric is down. The camp is stolen. And Diesel just not on enough mana. Vala is low as well, so this is going to have to be given up. Nice camp invade coming in. Deckard coming in with a massive 3-man root there, in addition to throwing out the Ruby in a perfect position for Murden to bully everybody off. And now the first objective, that Mortar Punisher, being started by the side of ALR. Going to continue to get this up. Got a nice advantage here. And at this point, with how far behind, I would imagine we'd see Council of Mages just go pick up the camps and try and continue the soak game. But it looks like they are going to go and try and contest. Only 10 more, needed by the side of LR. Gul'dan loves to fight over these objectives, but big damage coming into the Vala. Zul'jin getting zoned all the way off. Stun going down, does not connect, but a gravity lapse lands onto the Muradin. Gonna continue to get the focus. A lot of damage coming in, but unfortunately no kills yet. The slide goes through onto the Gazlo. Power damage being done by the ETC, but Murden not falling. Gazlo neither. Vala trying to put down the damage. The Mortar Punisher has been picked up, runs and gets a 2-man stun. Nobody in position, and so the Mortar Punisher will be brought over to the wall. A lot of fighting, everybody getting low, but nobody falling there. Neither team has gotten the coveted first blood quite yet. Father 3 gonna hop this Mortar Punisher over. Actually, it's the Vala and Kael'thas that get it. Gul'dan putting down some serious pain there. The Punisher trying to get the final blow on this Vala. Not gonna land. Murden looking for blood. Doesn't find it. And the Punisher goes down, getting the first wall. Pretty typical for your first Punisher. Doesn't get much more than that usually. But we do see level 7 talent advantage for the side of ALR. Just barely. 7's now coming online for Council of Mages. And now we're looking at this possible rotation into the bot lane, picking up the bottom camp. Neither team's still picking up the Bruiser camp quite yet. Sitting empty. Bruiser's a little lonely at the moment. But ALR going to get their 3rd camp of the day. So all 3 camps so far in the early game. And that's been pretty much the story of this experience. It's pretty much just the Merc camps. XP total, Mercenaries 834 to 0. Minions are fairly close. Structures are close. 250 passive. It's pretty much just been the camp game that have given ALR this early game lead, which is good when you're a team that wants to race to 10 first with this Wombo combo they have in the Deckard, Kayn, Gul'dan. But here we go. We are seeing Council of Mages start to be the aggressors here. Deckard throwing down the roots, gonna find the Kael'thas. Gravilapse goes out, but it misses the Murden. The stun goes down. And then a nice counter stun by the Tyrande. It's gonna make sure Zul'jin cannot follow up on the damage. Zul'jin sitting on about 6 stacks right now. Gonna need to get a few more auto attacks in before he can really start putting the massive damage down. But the camp is stopped by the side of Council of Mages, so when there, Gul'dan actually starting it back up, and Gul'dan has a lot of clearing potential. Gonna be able to pick up this camp, and that is a 4th camp pickup coming in for ALR here. Gazlo did rotate down, allowing Leoric to get a little bit of soak up in the top lane, keeping this experience as close as they can. And Vala gonna go ahead, get to this mid lane, and now we play the 10 game. Everybody's getting ready for their 10s to come online. That will be when this next Punisher comes on in the top lane. Going to be either the Mortar or the Arcane Punisher, or sorry, the Frozen or the Arcane Punisher. But Murden getting his quest done. That's actually pretty big, a 6-minute quest stack. Oh man, they put me in as observer, not referee. Sorry about that. You're gonna see a little bit of chat. I need to make sure I turn that off. Skycake wanting to play. Doing a little bit of custom. Not reading that I'm streaming tonight. My teammate. Golly, that guy. Oh, a big Entomb coming in from Leoric onto the Gul'dan. Damage going down. The Stay a While comes out, lands onto 3, but 2 get interrupted. Big Mosh coming down onto 2 members there. Zul'jin and Deckard both fall. The strafe coming out from the Vala. Gazlo isn't even here. Now arrives, gets the grab bomb. Gonna land on 3 members. It's huge. Gul'dan gonna put down some damage, but nobody else there to follow up. And that is actually going to be a 4th kill. Kael'thas putting in some work, so Council of Mages just blow this game wide open and get the 4 for 0 kills. Not only first blood, but 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Big fight by Council of Mages right around when this Frozen Punisher Shrine comes online. And Kael'thas immediately rotating to the bot lane to get some experience, get the lane pushing, denying all these globes to ALR, and that is a big, big power play coming in from Council of Mages. You love to see the aggression right when the 10s come online. Let's go through some of these 10s that you didn't see already come out, but Entomb by the Leoric, Strafe picked up by the Vala. We do see the Phoenix being picked up by the Kael'thas, the Mosh by the ETC, and it's the Shadow Stalk coming in from Tyrande. Gonna give her team a little bit of healing, a little bit of invisibility. Waffle gonna have to be careful here. Has the Unstoppable. The Wraithwalk is going through, not quite low enough to fall, and Gul'dan gonna go and start the clear duty. On the red side, we got Avatar picked up by the Murden, Grab Bomb by the Gazla, Horrify coming in from the Gul'dan, Taz Dingo by the Zul'jin, and is the Stay a While and Listen from the Deckard. Almost all ultimates back online. Then Tomb goes down, doesn't find anybody. Phoenix thrown down immediately. Gonna zone out the Gul'dan, but now the counter engage is on. All ultimates pretty much still held on, except the Horrify. Here comes the Stay a While. Grab Bomb drops as well. 2 members fall and get caught in it. That is going to be the Kael'thas going down, but the return fight by the ETC onto the Taz Dingo. Zul'jin gonna try and walk away, not gonna quite make it. Another Stay a While. I believe the first one did get interrupted there. So the second one, not quite on cooldown, gonna get it off. That prevents the disengage. It's a 1-for-1 so far, even on the structure so far, 16 to 18. But 13's right around the corner for the side of Council of Mages. Almost Legends, Ruby, gonna have to wait here. Stun go down, Mosh actually being committed, but no follow-up damage. That's gonna be an interrupt. Unfortunate timing See if he picks up the reduced cooldown at 13. He does go get the reduced cooldown from the ETC, meaning that ETC needs to land some more of these Ws, get as many members as he can. King actually in a rough spot, does have the Dwarf Toss to get himself away, but gets the second hit. Gul'dan gets thrown down in the Entomb, a little bit out of position, walked out of the bush, and Leoric said, "Hi, how you doing? Enjoy the grave," and that is where Gul'dan goes. Frozen Punisher picked up by the side of Council of Mages, and they are looking good in this transition to the mid game so far. Everybody pretty low on the side, or at least Murden is a 3-man stun coming in from a Punisher, and more importantly, the root going down on the Murden. All they need is the Murden to fall. Strafe going out from the ball. Look how deep Betnum is going here, but they get the kill onto the Murden, and the Punisher continues to siege down this top lane. Leoric gonna go commit to the double soak, and Council of Mages are turning it on here. All cylinders are a go. 7-1 so far in the kills. Meanwhile, the side of Almost Legends Ruby, they're not quite at the stacks that they want to get. They just need to get everybody back together. Big gravity lapse coming in from the Kael'thas. Going to secure yet another kill. Had the damage from the range with Kael'thas and Vala, and that is what the pick potential is coming out of the side of Council of Mages. 8 kills to 1. Phoenix going to try and zone everybody off, but that's not going to do much more. The keep wall does fall, and everybody kind of goes back to doing what they were. But how about that last 3-minute play coming out from Council of Mages? For how much it looked like ALR was dominating the early game, Council of Mages has flipped this game on its head and come back strong, and now they are the ones in control of the camp pickup, sitting on a 2.5 level lead here. 16s are just around the corner. If ALR is looking for a fight, they want to find it before the 16s come online. Otherwise, it's going to be Soak City until they get their own. Murden looking for anything. Deckard going to get the stay a while just onto the ETC. Grab Bomb goes down. Does catch the Kael'thas and ETC. The camp is not quite sold yet, but the Corruption does send the Kael'thas, or sorry, the Horrified sends the Kael'thas in. A big Power Blast coming in from the Kael'thas. Going to get onto 2 members, and look at the damage Vala is just pumping out here. Having that quest completed, sitting on 50 stacks of W. And Vala just putting out so much damage now in this mid-game. Getting 3- and 4-man Ws over and over and over again is just getting these stacks like crazy. 11 minutes, 50 stacks on the fire at will. And that is putting so much damage down. And now this is Council of Mages continuing to assert their dominance through the mid-game. Gonna come down and pick up this bottom fort. So 2 forts have fallen. ALR gonna look to soak up for their level 16s, and that will be the next window where they are looking to turn this game back in their favor. Council of Mages is going to continue to be aggressive. Deckard Kane being caught out. Vala going to be able to finish this off. A nice Entomb coming in from Waffle. Waffle. Father 3 is on the ETC. Their names overlapped, and I was like, oh, excuse me, called out the wrong person, but it was Waffle on the Orc. A nice gravity lapse again, and look at the damage that they can put down. That was a half-health Gul'dan that got 1 Q from the Kael'thas, 1 W from the Vala, and then a nice little stun from Tyrande to finish it off. And Gul'dan is no more. Another pick coming in for Council of Mages here. And they're just going to continue to set this siege up. ALR, again, just need to get themselves back together. They've got the time. The objective will be coming online shortly. And need to just play to get their 16s. Don't want to fall too much further behind, because the last thing you want is for the side of Council of Mages to hit their level 20 before you get to your 16s. Right now, they've got about a half a level of experience to work with. So just getting that soak game going. Get somebody down to the bot lane, see if they can get some of these minions. Get this big wave coming in the top lane. That'll get them about halfway to 15 or to 16. And then they just are going to have to delay ever so slightly. Gul'dan did finish his quest, however, so he is going to get that return from his corruption, allowing more damage to be put down. But since this is in the mid lane, it's not necessarily needed to be fought over by the sides of ALR. They have a fort. The fort will be able to do some damage. They can pop it over, use the keep to get the rest. So they can give this one up, get their soak, and get on these even talent tiers, which looks like the play that's being called here. Electing not to really continue to the stagger. Gonna get the 16s, which is the smarter play in this situation. Vala gonna go up, try to start the camp, get it going, get some more pressure in the top lane. And here go Council of Mages. Gonna go the 39 play. I love to see this. Gonna get the 39 and just get soak. 16 was the objective for Almost Legends here, and Council of Mages like, cool, you guys want 16? We're not going to cap this thing until we get 20. We'll just defend this thing until we get our as close as we can to our 20s, and then we'll push with the 20s. So big play coming in from Council of Mages. ALR, you're going to have to respond and find a fight before the 20s are online. You're not going to get the objective, but you don't want to give them 20s because that will be disastrous with those big Storm League tier talents coming in. It looks like they're going to go pick it up now. I would still wait, but they are going to go ahead and finish this off. But I like the patience coming in from Council of Mages. It's a great play, sometimes very difficult for these teams to have that sort of discipline here. And they're going to be able to pick up this camp and get pretty darn close to the 20s. Not going to have it quite for this first jump. So the Punisher will go over. Kael'thas throwing down the Phoenix to zone, and the Punisher starting to lose its health. 20's just inches away here. Now gets picked up, but the Punisher, being at half health, will get one more jump, and that will be the end of it. And now we've got a nice little reset. So, ALR, although they're up against it, they will, if they just soak, will be able to get their 20s for this next objective. So as long as they don't stagger and die, they can defend this. The big two-man stun coming out from Murden. Gonna give up the keep. ETC looking for the engage. Throws down the Mosh onto the Murden. The grab bomb comes down, catches the follow-up, but the follow-up just isn't quite there. Big stay a while, but it does, everybody gets feared out of it. Gul'dan starts to go down, a huge strafe, and with those penetrating shots and the upgrade at 20, Vala gonna just stay at top health. Massive damage coming down. The Taz Dingo gonna try and finish off the Vala, but unfortunately he does get the Vala, so it is the reward there, but that will be it. Game number 1 is going to go on over to Council of Mages here. Love to see how this game was just completely flipped on its head. Council of Mages shaking off some of those nerves in the early game and coming in with a very strong level 10. And like I said, you can't count Father of 3 out on that ETC coming in with the plays. Let me get this updated for you all. Council of Mages coming in with the win, and with that, congratulations. Council of Mages, those 19% of you who chose Council of Mages as your winner. Enjoy your points. Holy cow, though. Like, look at the damage coming in from that Vala, how it was turned on there. And that is still the scary part of the Vala. She can still put out a very, very strong amount of damage if you cannot get to her. Betnum being able to commit, I believe, fully to the W build. Got a little bit of Gloom here, the Hot Pursuit and at the 7, and then the Gloom at 13. But overall, able to put out so much damage through that mid-game team fight. Healing, Tyrande actually pumping out a fair amount, 57, getting a little bit of a nudge from that Shadowstock ultimate there. Decker Kane, not necessarily known for, having that burst healing, more of the setup, and, from the mid-game on, it was really tough for Almost Legends Ruby to set up this mid-game. So they really weren't able to use the Deckard as efficiently as they wanted to. They definitely had a plan going in, and the plan was very evident. You could see the early aggression. I mean, they got the first 4 camps of the game with double invade coming in. I love the aggression I saw out of Almost Legends Ruby. But then that big fight in mid lane around that level 10. The Liort coming in with the Entomb, and then the big 2-man Mosh of ETC on top of, I believe it was Gul'dan and Deckard, were able to get the kills and basically blow this game wide open. And from there, it was pedal to the metal for the side of Council of Mages. So with this, game number 1 going to be won by Council of Mages. I'll throw it over to the talent screen. Also, during the game, so sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I do turn off the little animations during the actual game because I don't want to distract away from the game. But I still hear the sound. Thank you so much for Sacred, Kira, and Shiggity Wiggity for the follows during the game. Definitely appreciate it. Welcome to the channel. Hope you enjoy yourself here. Got a lot of HOTS coming up. Season 12 is just starting, and it is going to be a very fun season. Lots of good teams going to be bringing it out here in this second season, or 12th season, excuse me, of NGS. Let me get you guys back over to the map screen while I get the second map set up. We are going to be going to Battlefield of Eternity here on the second map. And it was Council of Mages that chose the map. Meaning Almost Legends Ruby. They got the choice between first pick and map pick. They elected to go with the first pick, taking the first pick away from Council of Mages this time. And going to pick... That means Council of Mages get to pick the map, and they're setting us to Battlefield of Eternity, which is my favorite map to cast. Absolutely. And there's so many reasons to love Battlefield of Eternity. My favorite reason? The draft. The draft is so fun in Battlefield of Eternity. With the just the mind games you can play with the opposing team. Looking at, do you want to go for a race? Do you want to go for team fight? Do you want to negate both and just go for a very strong push composition with the Asmodan and the Zebo? Do you want to go something silly like Juice Pirates? I mean, don't typically see it on Battlefield of Eternity, but I've seen it before. Champions like Stitches suddenly come out, and it's a much stronger champion, being able to pull people away from their... If another team goes burn and you go defense, you can pull one member over, do like a kidnap comp. So there's so many different ways you can set up a Battlefield of Eternity. Typically, most teams just try and go for, I want to get as much race as I possibly can. So champions like Vala, champions like Raynor, Greymane, they're the ones that typically see the bans. Artanis are the ones that see the bans here. However, with how strong the meta picks are right now, looking at Zagara, looking at Brightwing, we still may see those two champions get pushed out here, meaning that there will be race left on the table for these teams. And a lot of it. Could also see the Mei ban come out again. Johanna again, as Johanna and Mei are both known for being single defenders, can hold down an entire defense on their own, while the other tanks don't have as much freedom with the solo defense. So we'll see how these teams decide to go about it. Vala actually being banned out from Almost Legends Ruby. Not wanting to pick it themselves, or not forcing Council of Mages to be the ones to ban it out. And we do see the Johanna ban as well. So it's interesting here. If they don't ban the Zagara, that forces, or the Brightwing, that forces Council of Mages to ban one of the two, meaning they will get the other one. So picking up another ban here like the Mei, or... Okay, so they do ban the Zagara themselves, not wanting to pick it, telling me that nobody on Almost Legends Ruby is comfortable playing the Zagara. I just realized that I didn't get you guys over to the map screen. I don't know why I didn't do that. My hotkey... Oh, you know what? I turned off my hotkey last night. I forgot. When I was editing things, I got so frustrated because I was trying to type things out and I kept pressing my hotkey. It kept changing scenes on me. So I disabled it and I forgot to re-enable it, so it didn't switch scenes. That was my fault. I apologize. Thank you, Shiggity Wiggity, for bringing that up. And Mei going to be the final ban here. So Brightwing is on the table. And Brightwing is very, very strong right now. A lot of anti-crowd control. A lot of anti-engage. Good healing. And can get to the top lane very quickly. But going to go with the Stukov instead. Going to pick up the Stukov here. Was banned out, I believe, in that first game. In the first ban rotation as well. So Rat Bass Toad going to be the one to take the Stukov. And that does leave Brightwing available for Council of Mages. We'll see if it's picked up here in this first rotation. It's going to be the Greymane and the ETC again. Father 3 rolling it back on the ETC. Had a strong showing, even with all the anti-mosh interrupts. Still had a fairly strong ETC game. And there's the race with the on Betnum, the Greymane coming in. Also has very good camp clearing potential on the Greymane as well. So can sneak up and steal the camps on the opposing team's lane. So have to keep your eyes and have a constant Greymane call out. And it's going to be the Raynor and the Sonya. So Raynor going to be the race answer coming out of Almost Legends Ruby. And Sonya going to be picked up as that bully in the top lane. Also a champion that was banned out in game number 1. So we're seeing some of those bans getting from game number 1 starting to be prioritized here by Almost Legends Ruby. Got a nice strong composition so far. Gonna need a good frontliner as well. And there goes the Stitches. I was curious if that was gonna be the frontliner that we might have seen out of Almost Legends, but it will not come. Meanwhile, King's still deciding what he wants to ban out here. Looking at potentially a good synergistic ban with the ETC. They've already got the race, so looking at a mage, looking at Jaina, looking at Kael'thas, looking at Gul'dan, those champions can get banned out here. But it's going to be the Anduin. Not a bad option either. Has the Yeet. Also maybe a sign that they may be looking at the Garrosh pick here to get the toss into their own team. But Anduin not going to be able to throw the light bomb down onto ECC, which would make landing the mosh a lot easier. Can position him, slide in, and position himself to get the stun onto the Stukov and the Raynor, and then throw down the mosh pit on top of it. But we see Waffle and Kurtalicious going back to the Tyrande and Leoric. So Tyrande going to give Greymane even more race potential, with the passive going to be able to set up that extra damage onto the Immortal there. And Leoric going to match up against the Sonya in that offlane. The Entombs were definitely on point last game. So we'll see. There's so many different options for tank. It could be Varian, could be the Garrosh. Going to pick up the Kael'thas. And it is going to be that taunt Varian coming out of King. Pairing very well with the Stukov. They don't have the blow up necessarily that I was expecting. You know, maybe the Li Ming, but Kael'thas can still pump out a lot of damage as well. So if Raynor and Kael'thas are in good enough position, they can still get a fairly decent blow up onto a lot of these very low health targets. Li Ming actually being picked up by the side of Council Mages, adding more race, but also Taunt Varian is like, yes, I can lock the Li Ming down. So another squishy target being picked up. Leoric's not going to be there. So in the lane phase, Varian actually will have 3 very good targets, meaning ETC is going to have to be very, very careful with how he uses his power slide. Using it too aggressively could allow Varian to use that cooldown timer to get an easy taunt and really no interrupt outside of the Tyrande stun. Alrighty. Let's get this game number 2 prediction coming in. Who will win game number 2? Gonna give you guys a solid minute to get your predictions going while I introduce these two teams. On the blue side, we've got Council Mages looking to go for the 2-0 sweep here and get the domination starting off their season. We got Father 3 on the ETC, Diesel on the Li Ming, Betnun on the Greymane, Kurtalicious on the Tyrande, and Waffle sitting on the Leoric. Meanwhile, on the red side, we've got Palm Ball sitting on the Raynor, King sitting on that Varian, Q Ball 162 on the Kael'thas, Rat Bass Toad sitting on the Stukov, and we got Conflicted up in the top lane on the Sonya. And here we go. Looking at this team, ETC going all the way around, looking for the Raynor, but a penetrating shot. Make sure that does not happen. And back to the drawing board, these two teams will go. So, looking at this build-up in the bot lane, it's going to be the aggression coming out of Council of Mages. I'm looking for them to be a little aggressive in this early game. See if they can get a couple of these picks onto the Varian when he doesn't have the taunt, seeing what ETC can find. There he goes, gets a 3-man power slide. King getting fairly low. Greymane has the jump, jumps in, but a good parry from King. Make sure that Greymane does not finish it off. Well timed there, and that is going to mean Varian will get himself away. But I like the aggression, a big 3-man power slide coming in from ETC. That's what we're looking for, and that's going to set them up for an easier lane phase so far. Trying to be the aggressors before Varian comes online, because once Varian gets that taunt, this lane phase is all of a sudden going to flip. And the aggression is going to be in the favor of Almost Legends. Looking at the stacking quests, not as many in this game. Tyrande going to get one apiece. Kael'thas going for the globes as well. Cue Ball wanted to give himself a little bit more protection, worried about the potential of a pick play coming out of the ETC Tyrande combo. There is massive burst also coming out from the side of Council of Mages. The Greymane Li Ming is just a nasty amount of burst damage that can be put down onto any one target that they decide to focus on. But we're seeing nice patient play coming out of ALR, waiting for that 4, which is just around the corner. A couple more minions. I believe it's going to be the next minion wave is when they will get those 4, assuming no team fights over this camp in the bot lane. King getting very low, going to get power slid here. Greymane trying to put the damage down, but unfortunately, a little difficult with that parry. And Bednun actually getting down to about half health himself. Tyrande will be able to heal that up, but here we go. 4s now online. We do see them rotating away. Gonna go pick up this camp. I like it. Getting the camp on the timer. 2 minutes and 30 seconds. We don't see Council Mages. Instead, they're gonna go for the bottom camp first. Gonna get the little extra pressure from the siege camp in the bot lane. ALR getting the bruiser camp, getting it on a nice timer too. Tyrande scouting that one out. And that does mean that they will be able to go clear the bot lane and potentially send Raynor to start this burn. Meanwhile, the rest of Council Mages, they're gonna go pick up their own bruiser camp. Meaning they're going to be late to the halftime show. So we'll see if Raynor's in the lane right now. Not going to go start the race potential quite yet. Now heading on up there. And going to start this race with the Exterminator trait. Bruiser Camp still at half health. So this is going to be a big halftime show by ALR. They're getting a lot of value. Leoric actually needing some help with this minion wave in the top lane. So this is big race coming out from ALR here. The camp is picked up now by the side of Council Mages. They're looking for the defense, but this Immortal is falling and falling fast. Li Ming now in, the taunt going down the ETC. Gravity Lapse coming in. This Immortal fairly low. Raynor just needs to stay on it, needs to step out of the stun. Sonya getting bullied off here by the Greymane. Kael'thas does go down. The Immortal is picked up by Raynor, and now everybody just needs to disengage and set up for the siege. This is going to be a fully shielded Immortal early on. Raynor going to go make sure that this bot lane does not get any more value. Stukov and Varian going to go up to the top lane. I thought Sonya would go with him since Raynor had already gone bot, but now Raynor going to mount up and go to the top lane. We'll see if Varian can get a taunt here. He does, onto the Greymane, but unfortunately the follow-up stun, they got to back themselves off just a little bit, wait for Kael'thas and Raynor to get up here, and then re-engage. But good first pick. Going to be able to delay the clearing. The shield is not quite gone yet. Now going to go down. The melee range is engaged. They could pull it on the ETC. ETC does have to respect the taunt play coming in because they do have the burst, but he gets a power slide through. Stukov silence just a little bit off there, not right on top of the taunt target. Damage really wasn't focused, but there's the taunt onto the Greymane. Look at the damage that was put down. Varian trying to get in to finish the kill off. He is taking a few shots from the tower. ETC recognizing that, gets the crowd control, and Varian gonna be the one to fall here. Now Greymane gonna go all the way back in. Big gravity lapse ends up saving Raynor's life. We'll see if Tyrande can get one more stun. Doesn't have it quite up yet, but a big play. Varian diving in, trying to get that final killing blow onto the Varian. Isn't able to find it, and actually gets stunned out by ETC and Tyrande underneath the tower. Takes at least 3 or 4 tower shots, ends up falling himself. So it's 2-0 here for Council of Mages so far. Stukov gets caught in the face check. The turnaround is onto the ETC. The camp is not cleared yet. Everybody's back up, and I'd like to see ALO go ahead and go for this camp here. They have the advantage with everybody in Council of Mages being so low. Not going to go for it now. They can just turn around on this ETC, but a good knockback coming from the ETC makes Varian out of range. And the camp is picked up by Council of Mages here. So this fort still did take quite a fair bit of damage, and the siege is going to stay in the top lane coming in. All they need is one pick with this Varian, and they will be able to finish off this fort. He's looking for it, but isn't able to find it so far. Father 3 getting a little low on the mana pool. Like mentioned earlier, it isn't the most burst they could get on top of a taunt Varian with the Kael'thas Raynor, but it is still a lot. So they're struggling a little bit getting the follow-up damage onto some of these targets. But we'll see if they're able to turn it around once they get Sonya involved in some of these 5v5 fights. May get the kill. Meanwhile, on the side of Council of Mages, there's no shortage of burst damage onto a picked off target, and Li Ming will get that reset. But here we go. We may see the fight in this bot lane. Everybody's here. It is a party over this camp. Both ETC and Sonya are going to arrive as well. Big gravity lapse onto 2 members there from the Kael'thas. That will be Tyrande falling. Leoric in tow. ETC power slid his way in, but is now in deep with 5 members of the red team, and that is going to be a 3rd kill coming in for ALO. 10s are online, and they get rewarded not only with the camp, but free reign of this first half of the Immortal. They're gonna just continue to burn it and be on their way to picking up a very, very healthy 2nd Immortal as well. Kael'thas actually gonna go ahead and start the camp off. Sonya gonna go help. They don't need everybody committing to it quite yet. And the camp is gonna be picked up. ALR turning it on here in game number 2. Wanting to send us all the way to a game number 3 here. But the defense coming in by the side of Council of Mages. The Entomb goes down. Everybody has their 10. The Master Shove coming in from the Stukov. ETC going in, looking for the Mosh. Finds the Mosh onto King, but that gets interrupted right away. The Hyperion getting maximum value around this structure. Li Ming and Kael'thas having their own little spot in the bot, but that will be the first to fall. Stukov going to go down. ETC will follow, 1 apiece, but Li Ming getting the resets. You can hear him, and that means Li Ming going to get 3 kills there. Greymane actually getting the kill credit, but Li Ming putting out a lot of values, liking the resets. Greymane actually going for the throat rip. But they all left except for Tyrande, meaning Kael'thas and Raynor. Both damage still alive. This means this structure will be picked off. None of the damage died from Almost Legends Ruby. And everybody just backed up, going to pick things up. So they did eventually give away the Immortal. It will be a very healthy Immortal still. And it's going to go here into this bot lane. I'm curious if Sonya is going to come down into this bot lane or maybe go sneeze on the top lane and send Leoric up to top lane. But big pick may be coming in here. Stukov getting a little too far forward. ETC pulling that trigger, gets the slide, follow-up stun from the Tyrande, and that means that the siege is pretty much going to be halted. Raynor and Kael'thas can still poke from a safe range, but Kael'thas doesn't have the Phoenix to zone everybody off. Went for the Pyroblast instead. And that means they're going to have the blow-up potential to 1 target, and it may be ETC right here. Kael'thas starting to channel it, gets it off. ETC, you are gone. No, he doesn't. Gets the extra spell damage. Or spell resist, sorry, Tyrande. Gonna give the additional spell armor, meaning that ETC will survive there. The forts go down in both lanes. Sonya able to get the one in the top lane, so still both forts will fall, but not as much damage as it could have been. And I do notice that I did not even mention the ultimate, so let's go through those real quick. Entomb picked up by the Leoric, Mosh Pit by the ETC. It was the throat rip from the Greymane there. The disrupting force, disrupting wave, or wave of force, excuse me. I always call it disrupting because it is an interrupt. But the wave of force by the Li Ming, Shadow Stalk again by the Tyrande, and look at this. Glass Cannon picked up by Li Ming here into a taunt variant. That is the ultimate flex from a Li Ming player saying, I trust my positioning so much, I'm not even worried about the taunt potential coming out of variant onto Li Ming, because Li Ming will blow up if variant is able to get anywhere close to the taunt range. Meanwhile, on the red side, we've got the Warbringer being brought in from the variant, the Berserker by the Sonya, Pyroblast by the Kael'thas, Hyperion from the Raynor, and we've got the massive shove by the Stukov. And look at this top lane, getting some good pressure with the Catapult and the camp. 5v5 here in the bot lane. And this is in favor of Almost Legends Ruby. They don't have to force anything. Kael'thas gets entombed here, but there's no real follow-up. The taunt goes down onto the Greymane. Sonya spinning in, has a Berserker pop, looking to just continue the damage. Betnum diving in, and have to escape here. The Pyroblast going down, but Tyrande is going to be able to top him off, make sure that the spell damage armor is there. And ALR delaying, allowing their siege minions to get to all the way to the wall, and this structure damage is going to start coming in here. May get 1 fort, or 1 tower, excuse me, and gonna win the halftime show again. Doesn't quite pick up the fort. It's gonna be close. It does. So 1 fort picked up, and it is a 5-on-4 here. So I'd love to see LR pull the trigger, knowing that Leoric was in the top lane, electing to back themselves up here. Maybe look to pick up their camp, or go on and be in the aggressors. Ultimate isn't online for Keltos here, so they did want to wait. A big Entombment, Mosh being followed up. Li Ming gets the Wave of Force, excuse me, but doesn't quite finish. There's the reset. 1, 2 going down. Li Ming gonna go ahead and continue to put out the damage here. King sparring Waffle around their own defense, and now they're gonna go back, set up the defense around their own Punisher. Big pickup coming in from Council of Mages here, trying to keep this mid game back into their favor. They're winning in the kills, but they're behind in the structures. They're still on the hunt here, so Stukov trying to keep everybody chasing, meaning Keltos and Raynor will be back up. I don't believe they'll be able to get in here. Actually, they still have potentially blow-up pressure. If Varian and Stukov wait, just wait for Raynor and Keltos to get here, they can still potentially defend this with both damage sources being online. They're looking like they want to start the camp. And they're going to go ahead and pick up the camp, give the Immortal on over. Wait for the Sonya. Gonna be patient. But this Immortal, I believe, is gonna go into the top lane, right where their camp is going. It is. So that's gonna negate the camp pickup there. And 16s are just around the corner, but everybody from Council of Mages going back to get the clear. They didn't send 1, they sent 3. Meaning that there is gonna be some early burn going down for Almost Legends. They're gonna be able to get some of this quick burn with no pressure before everybody is in positions on Council of Mages. Remember, bot lane is going to push in favor of ALR. The longer they make this fight go, the further that wave is going to get in the bot lane. Mortal losing its shield, going to start pushing in here. The Hyperion goes down. We do see Stukov getting caught out in the Entomb. ETC getting a wash, but immediately interrupted by the Sonya. Taunt going down, but the damage is too busy focusing on the Leoric, so King's going to have to back himself away. It was a beautiful taunt onto the ETC. Massive shove. Goodbye. Waffle's going for a ride here, and that is big damage coming in from the Li Ming, but no kills yet on either side. The Immortal going to go down. The fort was picked up. Bot lane hasn't gotten the push that they needed quite yet. Maybe we'll see if King can find another pick here. Sonya actually rotating out, gonna go to the bot lane, so there will be no engage coming in from ALR. They're looking for their 16s. But man, I thought with King getting that taunt onto the ETC, that was gonna be the play to get themselves back in control of this game. Sonya gonna go down and get a camp. Now they're just looking to safely soak their 16s, get back on that even talent here, and look to fight around there. But Council of Mages, for how rough, losing 2 Immortals, losing both forts, they're still going blow for blow here, actually leading 9-4 in kills and up about a full level in experience. So even though they were behind in the structure, they're winning the experience in the race to 20. Stukov actually getting dismounted here, has to be very careful. The power slide going in, Greymane jumping in, doesn't have the damage quite yet. Taunt going down onto the Greymane. Mosh is going to make sure that there is no follow-up here. Sonya is in, Waffle is in very deep, gonna fall. Kael'thas very low, but Li Ming misses the orb, so Kael'thas will stay alive. It was very close. And 16's now online for the red team. I also love how Almost Legends Ruby got red side in this series. I mean, how have we not mentioned that so far? It's like perfect. But again, these death timers are starting to get long. Thankfully, it is Leoric that was picked up, so Leoric will spawn on the map rather than big invade coming in here. Sonya and Kael'thas a little behind, but Council of Mages not wanting anything to do with that, realizing that they're down to man. So that is going to be a camp still. I like the aggression on the camps coming back in from ALR. They did that very well in Game 1. I like how they're keeping with that plan here in Game 2. And that is going to get that experience gap slightly closed. But Leoric is not quite here yet. The stun going in from the ETC. No follow-up from the Tyrande. Does miss it. The 2 misses as well. So a lot of ultimates burned, a lot of resources. Sonya in very low. The reset not quite picked up. The Hyperion more for a disengage. Taunt going down onto Greymane here. Sonya does get picked up in the back. Li Ming got the reset. Diesel in great position here to just keep throwing these orbs out. Gets the 2nd kill. And look at the positioning this Li Ming has. Staying very safe, but also getting these resets. That's 4. She's going to be able to get the 5th one here. And that is going to be a full ace coming in for Council of Mages. Don't lose anybody. They could just push in this top lane and get the keep, but they're going to go back and commit to the Immortal. So that is going to allow everybody from ALR to respawn, and the Immortal will go to the top lane. I'm curious. I think going for with the minions here and everybody being dead, they could have picked up the keep and then gone. Now it looks like the keep call is being made, or maybe a camp steal instead. But since this Immortal is going to go to the bot lane, this keep will stay alive. Sonya will be able to clear out these minions. And ALR should have no problem defending the keep. The fort will fall for sure. But the fort only evens up the game, so... Council of Mages, it's first game of the series. Wanted to be, maybe there's a little early season jitters here. Wanting to, go for the safer play instead of risk it for a keep. And Leoric actually getting some fairly good damage, so this Immortal is going to be able to push in quite far. And the 20s are also going to be right around the corner. Actually, with this minion wave, they may get their 20s for this siege. So it's on ALR to be very careful. They do have the Hyperion that they can throw out to zone everybody off as they burn. They want to wait for the Immortal to get in close before they throw it out here. And then with the Stukov Puddle, they should be able to zone off most of this. They should get a fair bit of this Immortal. But here they come. 20s are online. The Silence and Tomb from the Leoric. The Death Mosh from the ETC. Oh, he went for Tour Bus. Excuse me. The Tour Bus picked up by the ETC. So going to get the Power Slide. Stukov caught out here by the Entomb. Going to get himself away. There goes the ETC looking to re-engage it. Does people know? They didn't know, but Raynor gets the penetrating shot. ETC was looking for that Tour Bus. This Immortal still fairly healthy. Going to have to be focused here. Starting to work on the core. It is going to be a core defense coming in from ALR. Stukov doesn't quite have the kill switch engaged yet, but the Immortal is not getting focused at all. Raynor trying to get as much as he can. Varian going in, low health bars around, but the Immortal continuing to just slash away. And this is going to be Council of Mages taking the game in taking the series in 2 games. How about that? Council of Mages coming in strong again in the mid game and able to find their way even though they were up against it. To win here in 2 games. So for the 34% of you that had the faith that Council of Mages was going to send it all the way, the 64%, I understand you wanted this to go to a game 3. Who doesn't? But Council of Mages starting off their season 12 with a dominating victory and looking very good. Let me go ahead and message Waffle, see if we can get a potential interview. And we'll see what we can get here, but keeping it on this stat screen for a few seconds here. I mean, look at the damage. Li Ming, I mean, we followed her kind of in that last fight, and you could just see the positioning. I said, going Glass Cannon to a taunt variant, you got to be very confident with your positioning, and Diesel just did an excellent job at making sure he wasn't too far out of position and was able to get those angles to continually deserve those resets and just put down so much damage in some of those late game team fights. So major props to Diesel there. Teams are going to have to watch out for that pick coming down the road. Let me jump into a channel real quick. Let's see if we can get Waffle in here.
Yo.
There he is. Waffle coming in. Congratulations. How's the team feeling on the 2-0 victory?
Man, let me tell you guys, we're feeling pretty good considering we've been playing Crowfall for the last month. Yeah, like the first time we logged, like we told each other yesterday we were going to do some practice matches and we were having some great fights over there. And then so today we logged in for a couple games before our match.
I was going to say, literally dusting the team off right before your opening debut in Season 12. You'll love to see it.
Yeah, you could tell. Our camp timings were horrible for the first game, second game. So we'll get better at that.
I mean, you could see the dust, the polishing definitely was coming into form as the game started to progress. It seemed like both games, the early game is like, what's happening? And then all of a sudden mid game comes around. It's like, you know what? Never mind. We got this. And transitioning very smoothly into a late game. But let's go back to game 1 real quick. going to Infernal Shrines, you know, you guys get first pick and they didn't ban the Vala. Was that like an immediate like, yes, we want that Vala pick? Like that was the plan all along, or was it kind of a, we'll see what they give us and we'll just adapt to it?
Well, we were kind of waiting to see what they gave us. We weren't quite sure if we wanted the Vala. Betnun, our auto attacker's a great Vala, but he recently moved, so he's playing on very high ping. So
Oh no.
we really weren't sure how that was going to turn out, but it ended up not being too bad.
Yeah, yeah, and then we're looking at this game. We can talk about the early game. The It seemed like almost Legends Ruby, they were very aggressive on the camp invades. They got, I believe, the first four camps of the game. So and the first Punisher, like it was all red team for the first 9 levels, and then all of a sudden that number changed to a 10, and it seemed like just the light switch flipped, and Council of Mages, getting that 4-man wipe in the mid lane. I mean, what a play coming in there. Father of Three getting the 2-man mosh onto back line, not getting interrupted either. I mean, take us through what happened into that mid game.
Well, I think with a lot of games, we've always, throughout our history, kind of prioritized team fighting. Our motto is Spike likes power I. So it's as soon as we hit 10, we just kind of look to fight and kind of use that leverage throughout the rest of the game there, which I think you saw it was pretty prevalent in both games. So
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Once the team fighting concept came into the game, the ultimates came online, and everybody's like, "All right, let's smack around with these ultimates." It seemed like the game shifted for sure in your guys' favor. Game one, it looked a little rocky, and then it just suddenly turned into this very dominant performance. I mean, Betna, we have to give props to or Betna for the amount of stacks he got on the Vala. I mean, there was one fight over a camp where he just unloaded. He has that like 60 stacks 12 minutes into the game. So, I mean, impressive overall. So then they go ahead and they send us over to, game number two. They want first pick. You guys pick Battlefield of Eternity. And then what was going through the ban strategy? I mean, were you expecting to go into that having to ban Vala and Zagara and ended up the other team banned both of them?
no, we were gonna pick one, whichever one they didn't ban, or we didn't want to ban either of them because we were hoping that they would let one of them through with first pick. They didn't, which kind of snafu'd that, but it ended up working out. So.
Yeah, I was curious, looking at the way when they banned the Vala, I was like, interesting. And then you guys sticking with the same two tank bans. Was there a reason? Do you guys just not like going against May and Johanna, or was that more of a focused ban on I believe that was King?
No, we just we don't like Mayor Johanna. We do play them a little bit, but we just prefer to remove them altogether. So.
Sure. And then looking how this draft kind of rounded out, coming back with the ETC Father Three, had a very good showing. Waffle, you had a great showing on the Leoric. So sticking with some of the regulars, but then switching it up to just for Battlefield Eternity, going with the Greymane and the Li Ming. Was there any worry picking up all those squishy targets that a taunt variant may come out and really put a damper on the spirits for the squishy auto attackers?
Yeah, I think it was definitely a thought in the back of our minds. But again, if we were able to force team fights, then we were felt pretty confident that the match was going to go in our favor. So.
Okay. And then, talking through that early game, again, ALO comes out, or ALR, sorry, I keep calling him ALO. ALR comes out, they get not only the first Punisher, the second Punisher, and the top end bot fort. So what happened? How did you guys kind of just come together, regroup, and turn this game around? Talk us through a little bit about how that again you guys sort of flipped that switch.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were just kind of hanging in there until we got kind of on that even talent tier, won a couple team fights, and then you can see, the experience or the soak from there was able to kind of go in our favor, and we were able to take control of the game, which is pretty much kind of how we looked at both these games. Just kind of get in there, get our feet wet, feel around, try to maintain until we hit, that 10 or 13 power spike, and really, look to force fights. So.
Okay. So it's just playing that patient game, realizing you're behind, looking for that talent tier advantage, and then ultimately finding some pretty good entombs onto the Stukov, onto the Kalitos, looking at some of these pick potentials that ALR was looking for in their composition as well, and ultimately able to turn that around. I was curious. The one question I do have after winning the immortal that last immortal fight, electing, everybody kind of finished it off in the top lane with the minions right there, right at the broken down keep wall, and then everybody just kind of backed off. Was there any consideration of going for the keep there, or was it just like, nah, we want to go for the Punisher, just get a big Punisher and try to win it with that instead?
Yeah, just kind of go with the Punisher. Like you said, they had won the first two or three, and we felt like the pedal was kind of moving towards the floor, and so we'd rather play safe than sorry. I think that's definitely a good point, though, and something we're going to look to analyze in the future. That is definitely something that we have struggled with in the past, is like when to finish objective or when to push forts or keeps or walls and then finishing objective. I think you kind of like saw that in the first game in Infernal Shrines when they were giving the shrine,
Hmm.
so we kind of backed out at 39 and
Yes,
took the fort and then went back.
I
So
loved
that's
it. I loved it.
yeah, that's kind of the biggest area of our game that we're looking to develop. So you will see that throughout the season. Hopefully, we'll have more opportunities, and we will elect to, push the structures down rather than just finish the objective.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely loved. I couldn't stop talking about that play. I was like, yes, this is exactly what I wanted to see. ALR was playing it super well, and then all of a sudden you guys returned with that play, and I was like, oh, yes, this is exactly what I love to see on Infernal Shrines is teams recognizing, the prioritizing objectives versus soak versus it
Mhm.
just looked
Mhm.
really pretty. So major kudos to that one. All right, so I'm going to ask one question. At the beginning of the season, Council Majors coming in with a strong victory. What can we expect to see from Council Majors? How are you guys feeling about the season? Looking at some of the teams in your division, just give us a little bit of background about Council of Mages.
Well, I think we're gonna do pretty well this season. I'm not sure. This is kind of our first like solid year in NGS. Last time, due to like IRL reasons, we kind of had to back out.
Hmm.
We did pretty well the one year we did Heroes Lounge against you guys. You know what I mean? I think you guys ended up winning the division
Oh
that
yeah,
year.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think we finished three, which was pretty good. Considering it was our first year all playing HOTS together. So
Absolutely.
I think one thing you're going to see out of Council of Mages this year is we're just going to continue to progress as the year goes on, and you will start to see things like camp timings and just overall macro play develop. Yeah, and that's pretty much
Absolutely.
it.
Hey, that's the goal. Get better. It doesn't matter how you start; it matters how you finish. So we'll
Hmm.
we'll see how this season progresses. But it always helps when you start so well. So
Hmm.
let's
Hmm.
hope it continues to go uphill from here. So real quick, who would you say was your team's MVP for this first series?
Oh man, I'd probably have to say father of three on the tank. We just he constantly got some good slides, got some good moshes, and just kind of put us in some good positions to win those team fights. So shout
Sure.
out to Father Three.
Absolutely, got to give the nod to the tank. I always give the nod to the tank player, being tank main
Hmm.
myself. So Father 3, I had my doubts in that game one with all the interrupts, but still finding ways to get those moshes off and,
Yeah.
and get the value. So major kudos there.
Hmm.
But last but not least, I'm gonna open it up. Floor is yours. Any shout outs you'd like to give? Go right ahead.
Oh no, just shout out to the other team. Played well. Always enjoy doing these. Shout out to you for casting, and shout out obviously Council of Mages. We'll continue to get better and hopefully win the rest of our games this year.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, Waffle, thank you so much for dropping in. Good luck to you guys the rest of the season. And congratulations again on your 2-0 domination victory here in week one.
All right, thanks, Ice. Take it easy.
Yep. You too, bud. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Waffle from Council of Mages coming in with the 2-0 victory. Almost Legends Ruby, I mean, they're gonna bounce back. Looking at their early game, I mean, they are a team that likes to put on the aggression, likes to do the camp invades, and in this, Division D is where we're at. That kind of a play style is definitely going to be favorable once they figure out some of those. Really all that is for them is just figuring out kind of how to get the focus fire in some of those team fights. Follow up King on some of these call outs and get themselves in a little better position. And I mean, some of those fights, especially in that second game, could have completely flipped the switch. So once they get that polishing off, I mean, look for Almost Legends Ruby to make an absolute run of this as well. And it's going to be exciting if these two teams match up again in the playoffs and see how they match up here. But for today, that is it. That concludes match number 1. I'm going to go ahead and throw us over to Weenus, just starting off in Division C. He's got a match over there. And then I will be back. I'm going to take a little bit of a break, give my throat a little bit of a rest. And then I will be back around, I believe it is 7:30 tonight. Let me double check that calendar to see. It is going to be, nope, it is going to be at 8 o'clock tonight, 8 p.m. Central, 11 o'clock Eastern. So for those on the East Coast, might be a little bit late for you. But for those on the West Coast, we'll be starting back here in about an hour and 20 minutes and going to go into a Division C matchup. But so far, for tonight, thank you all so much for coming in. Thank you so much for all the follows. Hope you enjoyed yourself. We've got a lot more coming down the road here in this season 12, but I will get you guys on over to Moist Weenus's channel and that matchup. Have a fantastic night, everyone, and look forward to seeing most of you, hopefully, back here in about an hour and a half. Have a fantastic night and take care, all.